Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful week like always. Yes, today is the day that we are ending another discography journey, and that is Pink's discography journey. After this video, I would have exhausted her entire discography. There won't be any more Pink albums to listen to. So today we will be listening to her 7th studio album, Beautiful Trauma. Now, prior to Beautiful Trauma, Pink released her 6th studio album, The Truth About Love, in 2012. So that was a 5-year break between albums, 2012 and now 2017, The Truth About Love and Beautiful Trauma. And it says here that Beautiful Trauma developed over a 3-year period. It says here that the reason Pink took a career hiatus is because she wanted to focus on her personal life and become re-inspired. Now, I will say, I have listened to this album before, back in 2017 when the album was released. But I am looking at the track list. There are 13 songs, and I don't remember quite a few of these songs. So I don't remember what most of these songs sound like. So this is going to be like a first listen video all over again. It's going to be a good refresher. But the songs that I 100% do recall are tracks number 1 and 4, Beautiful Trauma, and What About Us. And I do think I remember track number 12, Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. The album is also 52 minutes, so enough talking, let's get into the first track. Track number 1, Beautiful Trauma. Alrighty, that was track number 1, Beautiful Trauma, and this was the second single off the album. And these are very typical Pink lyrics, in my opinion. I mean, we've heard her talk about stuff like this before in many of her other songs. You punched a hole in the wall and I framed it. I wish I could feel things like you. Everyone's chasing that holy feeling, and if we don't stay lit, we'll blow out. My perfect rock bottom, my beautiful trauma, my love, my drug. I'm curious to know if she's singing about Carrie Hart. I always want to know if these sorts of songs are about Carrie Hart because they do have quite the history together. They are married, but they have gone through a very rocky relationship. Tough times, they keep coming, all night laughing and fucking. Some days like I'm barely breathing. After we were high and the love doped out, it was you. And Pink actually explained her reasoning for the title of the album, and she says, life is fucking traumatic, but it's also incredibly beautiful too. There's a lot of beauty still, and beautiful souls. This has been a constant theme throughout a lot of Pink's songs and albums, I find, just going on this Pink discography journey. She does sing about the struggles of being in love, the truth about love, and the chaos of life, of being a celebrity in the public eye, and falling out of love and falling in love. She talks about the heartaches and wanting to just beat up her significant other because she hates them so much, but at the end of the day, she loves them as well, and life is beautiful, love is shit, life is beautiful. So I feel like these are constant themes that she has been talking about since the very beginning. I think the best consensus I can come up with is that life is fucked up and life is difficult, as is love, but we make do with what we have and we try to work through it as best we can. And one other thing I love about Pink's lyrics and a lot of her songs is that they are quite aggressive, and they always do put a smile on my face. She always wants to fuck shit up, and she wants to, like she says in this song, she wants to destroy a hotel lobby, and I just love her aggressive, sometimes even passive aggressive lyrics. So now let's move on to track number 2, Revenge, featuring Eminem.
Like Leo in the Revenant, Abel in that Bible bit. All the feels you make me do, nightmare fucking coming true. Wish I was a lawyer, I would sue you. We could do revenge, 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 revenge. Together, 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 together. We could take revenge, revenge, revenge. You can't just get away with it. Eye for eye, you piece of shit. You treat us like a garbage pit. Let me at 'em, wait for it.
Well, in the beginning, we felt like we was meant to be. I fell for you and skinned my knee, but hell with any injury. Tell me that I stabbed you in it, stabbed you in it, stabbed you in it, stabbed you in it, stabbed you in it. Slide! So when you're driving,
Revenge, together, together, together. We can take revenge, revenge, revenge. Revenge is sweet.
Fuck no. Alrighty, that was track number 2, Revenge, featuring Eminem, and this track wasn't a single, but I always love hearing Eminem featured on a song. I do like listening to Eminem from time to time, and I really do like a lot of his songs. I actually haven't listened to an Eminem album in full before, so I do want to go on my Eminem discography journey one day. And I know that Pink has been featured on a few of his songs, which I am well aware about, and I was going to include them in my last video where I listened to a lot of Pink's greatest hits and some of her bonus tracks. It was a compilation video, but I wanted to save those songs for when I actually go on my Eminem discography journey. And this is quite the aggressive song, I will say. Wish I was a lawyer. I would sue you, take your dog, take your house, not the dog, anything but the dog, honestly. Take your shoes, take your heart, now here comes that singing part. I will say though, I'm not the biggest fan of the chorus. We could do revenge, 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 together, together, together. It's kind of repetitive and boring in my opinion. The chorus was definitely my least favorite part of the song, and I will say my favorite was probably Eminem's part. I want to say that this is another classic sounding Pink song, how it started off really nice, the relationship felt like we was meant to be, but then it took a turn for the worst and he started cheating on her and she might have started cheating on him, and they're saying, with all your lady friends, whores, hit the club and you got out. Don't know a sum, cause when I calculate the times you cheated and I total up all the amounts, it doesn't add up. First you turn your back on me, then tell me that I stabbed you in it. Slut. So overall, the song is just about cheating and getting back at your significant other. Revenge is sweet. Revenge is sweet. And getting revenge on them is sweet for what they did to you. I really did enjoy the song and I had a lot of fun reading the lyrics, but I don't know if this would be a song I would necessarily go back to and listen to again. So now let's move on to track number 3, Whatever You Want.
Okay.
so
Running like a dog, fighting like a bitch too much, and you just can't stand it, baby. I feel like the shit's going down tonight, and that's enough for me to try. Oh, I know you think it's me, but you want it all. You're enough for me. Even if I say that it's over now, whatever you want, whatever you need, whatever you do.
Alrighty, that was track number 3, Whatever You Want. I forgot how much I really liked this song. I remember listening to this album for the first time, and I remember this song being one of my favorites, and it still is to this day. I love the chorus on this song, and the song was co-written by Max Martin. I guess that's why I love it so much. And this was the 3rd single off the album. This album is just taking me back to the year 2017 when I started my first management position. And I remember having to take the bus to work. And I remember waiting at the bus stop. I had to walk to the bus stop and wait for my bus. And I just remember listening to this album, even in the dead of winter when it was minus 30 outside. I was freezing my ass off. And I just remember listening to this album. Oh, the memories. I will say though, this is another typical sounding Pink song. She isn't really um treading new territory with this album lyrically, I feel like. I mean, these are stories and lyrics we've heard before in many other Pink albums. She's saying it's always darkest before the light, and that's enough. Even if I say that it's over now, even if we want to move on somehow. I mean, I've heard these sorts of stories and themes before on many other Pink albums and songs. So because of that, I do want to say that this album is a little, I don't want to say boring, but it's not really innovative for Pink. So now we're gonna move on to track number 4, What About Us? And this was the lead single from the album.
We are searchlights we can see in the dark. What about us? What about all the times you said you had the answers? We were willing, we came when you called. I'll be ready. Are you ready? So what about us? What about all the broken happy ever after? What about us?
Okay, that was track number 4, What About Us? And hands down, this is another one of my favorite tracks off the album. I always really enjoy listening to it. But this isn't the version that I listen to. I don't listen to the album version of What About Us. The version I do listen to is the Cash Cash remix, which I feel like is superior. What I also like about What About Us is how it's more upbeat, it's more dance, it's more EDM, which I love because I am an EDM guy, and this song definitely gets me up and dancing, whether I listen to the Cash Cash remix or in this version, the album version. I just wish they would have went a bit harder with the production on the album version. It just seems a bit subdued in my opinion. I just wish the album version of What About Us had that extra oomph in it, especially during the chorus. Lyrically, this is probably my favorite song on the album as well. What about us? What about all the plans that ended in disaster? What about love? What about trust? What about us? Sticks and stones, they may break these bones, but then I'll be ready. Are you ready? So she could be singing about a relationship once again, but she could also be singing about just people in general. What about us? Us as a group of people. And I have to keep reminding myself that 2017 was the beginning of the Trump administration. Trump was the new president of the United States, so I imagine a lot of songs were inspired by how people felt about that particular year, that particular time. So I don't know. I'm not saying this song is about that, but it could be about that. I'm very curious to know what the actual meaning of the song is. It says here that the song's lyrics explores Pink's belief that the US government had failed people and sends a message about those who feel unheard or forgotten. And that's definitely the impression I get when I listen to the song. Not just listening to the song, but also looking at the artwork for the single as well. Pink is surrounded by all these people, different skin colors and genders, ethnicities, and what about us? So now let's move on to track number 5, But We Lost It. I do want to say as a disclaimer quickly that I don't know Pink's political beliefs. I mean, it does say here that the song does explore Pink's belief that the US government had failed people, so I'm just going off of that. I'm assuming that she's talking about the Trump administration because the song was released in 2017. I will also say, I keep wanting to move on to the next song, but I keep coming up with new things to say. I do want to say, though, she has spoken about politics before in some of her prior songs, especially from her I'm Not Dead album. She released a song called Dear Mr. President, which she was talking about George W. Bush. So I just want to point that out as well.
They say everything is temporary. Is it some sad empty castle us all in the sky. You walk by and it's like our bodies never touch. No love, you hold me close, but I don't feel much. I wish I knew it when we lost it. And now I'm living all alone in these four walls. The bone breaks. One more go, I kinda thought if we took it slow, it might be easier for us, you know. I wish I knew it when we lost it.
Alrighty, that was track number 5, But We Lost It. And this was another raw and powerful song from Pink. And I imagine she's singing about Carrie Hart in this song. She says, "You walked by, and it's like our bodies never touch. No love, you hold me close, but I don't feel much. I cry, maybe time isn't on our side." This is a very cold song. She also says, "You stared into my eyes and turned to stone. And now I'm living all alone. There's a stranger, he's lying in my bed." And then she goes on to say, "I wish I knew it when we lost it." Like I said already, this is a very raw and powerful song from Pink. It's probably not a song I would listen to again because it is quite depressing, and I can't really relate to what she's saying because I'm not in a relationship with anyone right now. I've never really been in love with someone, and this is the same issue I had with her Truth About Love album. More so an issue just because of myself. I've never been in love before, so I couldn't relate to a lot of the songs on that album. And I'm having that same experience with some of the songs on this album as well. I'm just not able to relate to them as a lot of other people can. But who knows, maybe one day I'll fall in love and I'll get married, and then 5 years into the marriage, I'll start feeling what Pink is feeling. Oh god, I hope not. That is so tragic. I hope my life doesn't turn out that way. I swear to god. So now let's move on to track number 6, Barbies.
Another day, another sin. Another day, I'm late again. And I lock every single door. And I look behind me even more. Now I'm here, and all I wanna do is go back to playing Barbies in my room. Where do we all go? And I lock every single door. Wish I could go back to playing Barbies in my room. Back to playing Barbies in my room.
Alrighty, that was track number 6, Barbies, and this isn't the happiest album in the world. It's definitely making me feel a little sad and emotional. I can relate to the song actually because, I mean, anyone can relate to this song. Everyone wants to go back. Well, I guess not everyone, but a lot of people do want to go back to the days of being a child and just, play Barbies in your bedroom and just doing childish things and not having to worry about the world and getting older and all those boring, horrible adult stuff. And I do think about that sometimes. I just wish I could go back to when I was a kid, and I played with Barbies when I was a kid. I was a real big fan of Sailor Moon back in the day, and I probably shouldn't admit this, but whatever. I actually had all the Sailor Moon dolls, and I would play with them because I was a Sailor Moon fan. I think my favorite Sailor Scout was obviously Sailor Moon, and I don't know, maybe Venus. I really liked Mars and Venus. So leave a comment which Sailor Scout was your favorite. And poor Sailor Jupiter. I remember me and my friends didn't like Sailor Jupiter. I just remember no one liking Sailor Jupiter. But if you like Sailor Jupiter, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just stating the facts. And Sailor Mercury. No one really liked Sailor Mercury either. I just remember always liking Sailor Mars because she was so sassy and she was so aggressive and she was so different from all the other Sailor Scouts. She was a little bit of a bitch, I won't lie. Why am I talking about Sailor Moon? Okay, Barbies by Pink. I liked this song. I probably wouldn't listen to the song again. I liked listening to it. I liked the meaning behind the song. This was just another very raw and powerful song from Pink, just like track number 5, But We Lost It. So now let's move on to track number 7, Where We Go.
We Will you shut me down? You just ain't right. Cause it's how you know you must let go. It's a breath that you take right before you die. We lie, you lie. Can't say we didn't try, no, so there's a road that takes me home. As we come, so make goodbye. Take me fast or take me slow. Take me home.
Okay, that was track number 7, Where We Go, and I'm gonna be honest, I feel really bad for saying this, but I like the intention behind the song, but I just thought it was really boring. It's probably my least favorite song off the album. I didn't think it was very memorable. It's very generic sounding, and I definitely probably wouldn't listen to it again. I do want to analyze the lyrics a little bit, but I honestly don't really care. I'm really not interested in this song. And I don't really have much to say about it, so let's just move on to track number 8 for now.
Remember that time we were just kicking? Now it's like I lied when I said I didn't need you. Three straight times we would stop and get back to the old life, familiar thoughts. For now, so goddamn me. 'Cause I say, for now. Three straight times we would stop and get back to the old life, familiar thoughts.
Alrighty, that was track number 8 for now, and I'm gonna be honest, this was another song I didn't like at all. I liked it a bit more than the prior song, Where We Go, track number 7, but I still don't feel like this is a very good song. It's very generic sounding. It's not memorable. My favorite part of the song was towards the end where we hear the guitar strumming. I really like that part, but that's about it. I also like the part where she says, "Can we freeze frame, pause, rewind, stop, and get back to the feelings we think we've lost for now?" This is just another forgettable song, and I wouldn't listen to it again, and I'm a little disappointed in this album so far just because she took 5 years to put out a new album between The Truth About Love and this album, 2012 and 2017, and to me, this doesn't scream 5 years. You know, it also says that this album took 3 years to make. I recall saying that at the beginning of this video, and when I listened to this album, it doesn't sound like it took 3 years to make, and I don't know, this doesn't sound like a comeback album after 5 years, in my opinion. So now let's move on to track number 9, Secrets.
What do we conceal? What do we reveal? Make that decision every day. I like to make believe with you. Da 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 do. I got some things to say. Somebody's got a secret. I got some things to say. Somebody's got a secret. I like to make believe with you. Da 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 do. I got some things to say.
I'm sorry, I don't care anymore. I don't mean to sound this way, and I really do apologize if you like this album, but I'm just being honest with you, and I'm not liking a lot of songs off this album. And what's making me a little angry is that it took 5 years to come out with this album, and there's nothing to really show for it on this album, in my opinion. These just sound like very generic sounding pop songs, especially this one. Like, what is this song? I remember actually liking this song back in 2017 when I listened to this album for the first time. This was one of my favorites off the album, but after listening to all her albums now, this album is definitely my least favorite Pink album so far out of all her albums. I'm just really bored. To me, these last 3 songs, Where We Go, For Now, and Secrets, they sound like filler tracks. But anyway, let's move on to track number 10, Better Life.
I've been up late watching you breathe. Wondering if you're gonna leave. Don't tell me what you see that you actually believe it. But I've been up late nights staring at the street lights. All the found myself up late, feeling kinda jealous, looking at the bullshit, other people's wellness. But I stay up late nights, screaming at the street lights, all the cigarettes smoke. But I can't shake the feeling.
Alrighty, that was track number 10, Better Life, and I don't do this that often in these first listen videos. I always want to give an album the benefit of the doubt and listen to all the tracks in full from beginning to end, but I can't. With these last 2 tracks, last 3 tracks, last 4 tracks, I can't get through the entire song without skipping through parts, and I actually stopped this song like 2 minutes in. It's just, I'm very disappointed in Pink because I love her music. I love her catalog of music. I love her lyrics. If you've watched my other Pink videos, I get so invested in her lyrics, and I love her lyrics, and I love all her albums, but this album is such a disappointment, in my opinion. She is so talented, she is such a fantastic songwriter, so many stories to share with us, and she's gone through so much, but these are just very generic sounding pop songs. They're very boring, they're uninteresting, and I'm a little angry. I'm a little angry because I know she's better than this, and I don't like this second half of the album. I liked the first half, so that's a highlight for me. I did like the first half up until track number 6, Barbies, but this second half of the album is horrible. And I'm very surprised with myself because there are very few times where I use that word listening to an album, horrible. I almost never use that word, but I have to for this album. The second half of the album, I liked the first half, but the second half I'm just not liking. I am curious to know what other people were saying about this album, and it says here that Beautiful Trauma was met with generally mixed reviews. Some people said that the album left little room for originality, and someone else said a little too clean, too tidy, too easily resolved. I was just curious to know if I was the only one feeling this way, and I also went on Rate Your Music, which people go to rate musicians' albums, and Beautiful Trauma is her second lowest rated album. Oh wow, Hurts to Be Human is her lowest rated album, which is very interesting. I haven't listened to that album since I did the first listen video last year, so I might have to revisit that album in my own time, but I'm just not enjoying this album. So now let's move on to track number 11, I Am Here.
Love me or not, there's no such thing as sin. Let it all come right in. I am here. I am here. All this road, but I'm still right here. Where's everybody go when they go? Where's everybody go when they go? Let me ask you. Where's everybody go when they go? Where's everybody go when they go?
Already, that was track number 11, I Am Here. Yes! Thank God. I remember this song being one of my favorites off the album when I listened to it for the first time in 2017. It's still one of my favorites, and it's definitely one of the better songs from the album. I love that chorus. I love the choir. It just possessed me. You saw for yourself, this song possessed me, and I really enjoyed it. I've already seen the bottom, so there's nothing to fear. I know that I'll be ready when the devil is near. Where does everybody go when they go? Compared to the last few songs I listened to, this song gets a 10 out of 10, so let's move on to track number 12, Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken.
I will have to die for this, I fear. There's not enough rope to tie me down, but I won't stop until we're free. Wild hearts can't be broken. This is my rally cry. My spirit above me, you cannot deny me. My This wild heart can't be broken.
Okay, that was track number 12, Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. And this second half of the album is slowly but surely redeeming itself. And I feel like I was gonna say this is the best song off the album, but is it? I think it might be. I don't know. It's definitely one of the best songs off the album, and I remember this song being one of my favorites from the album when I listened to it for the first time in 2017. I'm pretty sure this is another political song. There's not enough rope to tie me down. There's not enough tape to shut this mouth. The stones you throw can make me bleed, but I won't stop until we're free. Wild hearts can't be broken. This is like What About Us Part 2, and I really enjoy this song. Such an inspirational song of perseverance and not letting anyone silence you and not letting anybody abuse you and just standing up for yourself and for others, and wild hearts can't be broken. Another very powerful lyric of the song is the very beginning where she says, I will have to die for this, I fear. And how many people had to die, or how many people did die because they were honest and spoke their mind and spoke the truth? But I won't stop until we're free. It should have been the fourth single, in my opinion, but instead they released Secrets as the fourth single. Why? But anyway, let's move on to the final track of this album, which is track number 13, You Get My Love.
While you were sleeping, my thoughtless decision. But you get my love, baby. You get my love. Take that away from us. You get my love. I'm no longer hiding. Once again, I have to risk it all. Take that away from us. You get my love.
Okay, that was the final track of the album, track number 13, You Get My Love. Mad, mad, mad vocals from Pink. I mean, this song was pure vocals. She sounded great, so raw, so emotional, so powerful. And this is another one of the best songs on the album, in my opinion. If there is only one thing about me that you can trust, you get my love, baby. You get my love. Don't let my mistakes take that away from us. You get my love, baby. This was such a great way to wrap up this album, and I really did enjoy the last three tracks of this second half of the album. I Am Here, Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, and You Get My Love. I will say though, I'm still disappointed with the album. I do feel like it's an inconsistent album when it comes to the material. I don't know, this middle half, I was not a fan of this middle half, tracks 7 through 10. I couldn't. They were very lackluster in my opinion, and they just weren't memorable. To me, they just weren't very good, and they just sounded like filler tracks, which I'm not used to when it comes to a Pink album. Usually, with every Pink album, I like the majority of the album, and I always get so invested in the lyrics and the melodies, but this album was the quite opposite. But I did like the first half of the album, tracks 1 through 6. I do think this is a very standard Pink album when it comes to the lyrics and the stories about love, the truth about love, and the hardships and the struggles that come with being in a relationship, being married to someone. She also gets political with tracks number 4 and even track number 12, Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. I imagine track number 12 is political. That's the impression I got from it. I didn't enjoy the lyrics on this album as much as I did her other albums. I wasn't really invested in them. But like always, her voice was great on this album. There were so many great moments vocally for her on this album, especially tracks number 12 and 13. And I always enjoy listening to her voice. Her voice never disappoints. I did like the production of the album, but I didn't think the production was very memorable. I just felt like it was very standard pop. I also liked how she played around with EDM as well with What About Us. So overall, I was quite disappointed with this album. There are some great songs on this album, don't get me wrong, but overall, this is definitely my least favorite Pink album out of all her albums up until now. I do have to revisit Hurts to Be Human. I forget how I feel about that album. But up until now, 2017, Beautiful Trauma. Beautiful Trauma is my least favorite Pink album. So what did you guys think of the album? Maybe you think I'm completely wrong and you love this album. I'm sorry, I really am sorry. If you feel that way, I'm sorry if I offended you by saying this album wasn't very good. I was disappointed. It was just my honest opinion. Tell me why you like this album so much. So that's a wrap on my Pink discography journey. And let me tell you, I enjoyed this discography journey so much. I didn't expect to love her albums as much as I did. I go back to her prior albums a lot. I listen to her other albums on repeat. There are so many great songs. Her albums from the 2000s decade are so consistent and just a fantastic songwriter, so aggressive. I mean, she is a badass, she is a bad girl, and I learned a lot about her life, where she came from, how she grew up, and her beginnings in Hollywood and starting out as a musician and what she had to go through, the record executives and the bullshit there, just the bullshit of Hollywood and what she had to endure, and her opinions, her thoughts politically about her marriage to Carrie Hart and the struggles there, and she doesn't have a filter. Pink doesn't have a filter when it comes to her opinions and what she has to say. If she wants to say something, she will say it and she will get her point across. She is such a fantastic songwriter and I loved all the stories and themes she had to share with me. I will also say that I love her first three albums, Can't Take Me Home and Misunderstood and Try This. I know a lot of people don't like Try This and Can't Take Me Home, but I feel like those are very strong albums, and I always go back to Can't Take Me Home and Try This, Misunderstood. Those are probably, I don't want to say my top three Pink albums because I also like I'm Not Dead and Funhouse. So my final question to you is, what do you think of Pink? What does she mean to you? Maybe a lot of her music got you through some really hard times in your life. Maybe you are the number one biggest Pink fan in the world. Tell me why. Maybe she's your favorite singer of all time. Maybe you've been listening to her since her very first album. What do you think of her progress through the years, through the decades, of her career and her relationships? And what do you want to see from Pink in her next albums now that we are in the 2020 decade? What genres do you want her to play around with, and what do you want her next albums to sound like? So if you have any other tidbits of information when it comes to Pink and her life and her music, just leave a comment and let me know. And I will say, I know this Pink series hasn't been the most popular on my channel compared to a lot of my other discography journeys, but I was determined to continue on with it and to follow through and to finish it. I'm so happy I did. So thank you to all of you who have watched my Pink videos, and thank you for your support. I really did enjoy this discography journey. So officially, I think that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching, guys. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter, you can message me, you can tell me other artists I should check out. I'm open to any artists from any decade. You can find me on Apple Music, you can check out my playlists, and so on and so forth. So I'm tired. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. My sister actually left her sunglasses behind when she came to visit me. She lives in BC, and she visited me and my mom, and she actually left her sunglasses behind. And guess what I'm using for the thumbnail of this video? Yes! I'm sure she won't mind. How do I want to go about doing this? Okay, so she looks like that, so... Okay, bye.